want to hurt you. I love you.
Where do I start? First of all, Succubus rules. It is
Really?
Yes, I loved it.
You're the actually first person that I've spoken to who wasn't in the movie. So this is all washing over me for the first time, like that first step into a June ocean.
Well, I'm glad that I can be the one not involved in the film to tell you I loved it. I watched it the other day, and I mean, I was so floored by how unexpected it was in a good way. I did not know what was going to happen in this movie as it proceeded. It was just such a gripping film from start to finish. What about the script and the project overall really sparked your interest and want to be a part of it?
I always kind of look for originality first and foremost, and also as I turn the pages, do I want to? What is my interest level about getting to the next page? If I can't wait to get to the next page, that's pretty much a sign that you got me. And that's kind of how Succubus was, full disclosure, you hear the title and you go, your eyes roll and go, okay, what am I getting into here? But then if you're going to explore this kind of gothic, folklorish trope, Daniel Hanna did a phenomenal job in creating a world that keeps pulling you in. So that was me. That was my experience when I read it. And enough so that I started to engage.
I love hearing that. And the world he created, you're right, is so fresh and so original. And one thing I love about this film is that it almost feels like a play in parts, given how much of the filming is just one actor and a camera, trying to communicate to another person on the other side of the screen. What was that side of the production like for you, especially given so much of your time in this film is just you and a camera versus you and other characters?
We pretty much all had to work in a kind of on a separate movies, and the first time we all got together was when I watched it, was when I screened it for the first time a few nights ago. I have these conversations with Brendan's character over the phone, which I did separately. And the person playing Brendan was not Brendan, it was someone else giving me his lines. And then finally, when I get into the house with him, he's in a kind of a comatose state. So I'm not really engaging with an actor. I'm just engaging with a body sitting in a chair. And I'm also doing kind of my own kind of monologue version of my role. The only real interaction I had was the scenes with Olivia, where she comes in and finds me, and I'm toying with the idea of, what to do about this horrific spin out that's about to take place. And so otherwise, we're all in, I don't know about the rest of the cast, but I was very isolated in Dr. Zephyr's world, and didn't know how it all kind of came together until I actually watched the movie a few nights ago. And I, like you, was really pleasantly surprised at how beautifully it came together. And if you're gonna explore this world where we can get sucked into the rabbit hole of, internet engagement, whether it be porn or this or that or the other thing, things that kind of all of the augmented ways we get to titillate ourselves, masturbatory, etc. Daniel did an amazing job of having a command of that slippery slope. And that was what struck me the most when I watched the film, is that, if you're gonna be a guy who's not sure where he stands in terms of his own familial relationship and starts looking at other stuff to kind of glom onto, that's what this movie is an exploration of, and Daniel's execution of it was very, very smart.
There are so many fantastic themes in this film, like you say, that exploration as well as the dangers of modern internet age, and they all just mesh together so well. So in talking about being isolated in Dr. Zephyr's world, you know, not interacting with other actors, I would almost imagine that might actually benefit you, since Dr. Zephyr is sort of isolated in his own life, trying to stop this succubus from, you know, branching out into the world. Did you feel that helped you really get into the heart of your character during filming?
Well, it didn't hurt. That feeling of isolationism, that feeling of am I connecting or not, is exactly a mirror of what this good doctor is trying to figure out for himself. Am I having an impact? You know, I know some stuff here that is very, very explosive. And am I having an impact? And playing it in a way where the actor Ron, was isolated and not knowing whether he was reaching anyone or getting through to anyone, didn't hurt at all in terms of the frustration that it kind of imbued me with, in terms of the actual exercise of, like, I'm trying to save some lives here, but I don't know if anybody, you know, first thing the guy does is Google me, finds out that I'm involved in all these scandals, which I was, because I'm dealing with this really sick, twisted world, which is kind of urban myth stuff. So it looks like I'm a creep. And so that's the first obstacle that I'm trying to overcome, in trying to get his attention and say, take me seriously, bro, because your life depends on it.
So I'd love to actually expand on that a little bit with the scandals, because this is a character who, for much of the film, you know, we do see him trying to seemingly help Chris, but then when he finally gets to the house, there's a little darkness to him. What is it like walking that balance between someone who is sincerely wanting to help someone, but also does have this sort of dark past and darkness present in him?
It's just, you know, I mean, this is where I keep saying to Daniel Hanna, who's directing the film, how am I doing? Because you're right, there are, you know, there's kind of a creepiness about this guy. His name alone, Dr. Orion Zephyr. And then what comes up on him in his research is really off the chain. And he starts off the movie begging with his ex to just get his research out, although he knows that how she's going to get laughed off the face of the earth by even acknowledging that she has a relationship with me. And I'm aware of all this stuff. And it makes me look like I'm easily dismissible. Whereas we're watching something play out in real time that I discovered the gravitas of, and that it needs people's attention. So the slippery slope is trying to get people's attention while being surrounded by the cancellation process.
That is a very real thing nowadays, and I really like the way you capture that balance in this film. And so in talking with Daniel a lot during the production of this, did you sort of try and come up with a wider backstory of things that we don't already see and learn about in the film for Dr. Zephyr?
I mean, I always have my own stories that I tell myself that I don't share with anyone else, because it actually just makes the colors a little bit more vibrant when they're charged with a backstory, a history that I can kind of hang my hat on. Yeah, I made some decisions about him and how things got all messed up and spun out, and even the fact that he no longer is with the woman that he loves because how dangerous it can be to even traffic in this world. So he's paid a price, and he's damaged when we meet him, and so that needed to be part of my DNA, and also if that affects the creepiness of what you take him for. Do you take him as a word, or do you or see some sort of another snake oil guy who is has his own agenda of manipulation? And that's an important kind of a dynamic in the storytelling, I think.
Then you talked about screening the film for the first time the other night. What was it like when you actually did see that scene, the final product of them, having that confrontation with one another?
Yeah, I think I was kind of like you. I was really, really surprised at how well executed it was and how it all came together, because, when you're participating in an isolated bunch of contributions, you have no idea what they're going to look like when in the final analysis. And I was really, really, I dug it. I dug it a lot. I was very pleasantly surprised with how adept Daniel was in, he knew what he was doing. He knew the movie that he was making. And it was very, very clear when you finally watched it how strong a grasp he had on the material, how he knew going in what he needed to accomplish and what these isolated elements were going to all need to be so that they could all meld into some sort of a recipe.
I really can't wait to see what he does after this, because this is such a fantastic introduction for me to his work, and I think people are going to love it. And so,
I hear he joined a monastery, and he's never going to do this again. No, that's not true. I'm spreading shit here.
That would be quite the twist if this movie put him, messed with his head.
Dude, I've worked with a lot of directors that I would strongly recommend that move to.
I can imagine you have quite the legendary status in this industry and have worked with so many people. I wouldn't be surprised if a few of them needed that monastery break.
Yeah.
I think I'm almost coming up on time, so I did also want to ask you really quickly. I loved hearing you as Optimus Primal in the most recent Transformers movie, and I'm curious if they've talked to you at all about maybe having a future in that role as the franchise continues to grow.
I haven't heard a word. I mean, while we were making the movie, we all knew that we were part of a storied franchise and wondered whether we were going to, there was a bit of a departure in this particular one. It went in a couple of different directions. And we all wondered whether that was going to parlay itself into some future visitations. But no, I can't make any news with you today.
I'm more just excited, hopeful to hear that if they've been talking to you. And then, so are you at least interested, though, if they do approach you to keep that role going?
I dug being the gorilla with the green eyes. If I have to go be him again, then, I would definitely run that walk.
Well, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed they come up with a good story to bring you back, because I know, like you said at the top, that's the big thing that gets you interested. So, and in the meantime, though, I really look forward to getting the word out about Succubus, Ron. I've said it many times in this talk, but it's such a good movie and people really do need to see it. So thank you so much for taking the time. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, bro.
I'm asking you, please don't engage with this woman any further until I arrive, okay? I triangulated your cell phone towers. I should be within blocks of you.
Dude, what the hell?